Auburn baseball just beat Samford 13-3 in only 8 innings. We're going to talk about that, but there's still plenty more to talk about. A weekend series in the past with Alabama and looking ahead to a series with Mississippi State. All that right here on our midweek chat for Auburn baseball. War Eagle to you, our Auburn family, and of course, the E2C Network family. Thank you so much for joining us, watching us live on the replay, however you got here, spending some time with us, talking about something related to the orange and blue within the Auburn experience. On tonight's live stream, we're discussing another midweek check-in for Auburn baseball, and really our first check-in since the last midweek check-in. For now, I think we are going to take a cool off on the What You Need to Know series for baseball on weekends and just do a 1-week check-in for the foreseeable future, but we'll see what happens. But for now, let's focus on what we're here to talk about. A win over the Samford Bulldogs, 13-3, run ruling them in 8 innings. We do probably have to discuss an unfortunate weekend with Alabama, where we did lose 2 of the 3 games after an exciting first game, winning 8-4 in Tuscaloosa, then losing 2-4. Losing 1-6 in the third game for the series loss. And then a very important and crucial weekend for Auburn against Mississippi State at home for a variety of reasons. It's alumni weekend, I believe, too. So there was a lot of storylines to talk about within this game and with this past week. So let's jump into those now. I'd love to hear some of your commentary, your comments and questions as we go throughout the stream tonight. So post those in there right now. You can even get started by posting where you're watching from. Use this as your check-in period to post where you're watching from, your city, your state, international, with a War Eagle. Get those typing fingers ready. So do that if you can. And of course, if you enjoy this content, smash the like button. Opening thoughts for me. I thought, obviously, coming off of this weekend, it was a little bit depressing. I thought this stretch of 2 weeks since the last big challenging SEC series weekend, meaning of one of the upper echelon of the SEC, which is a lot of them this year. I thought these next 2 weeks, Alabama, the midweek games to Mississippi State, were really important to set Auburn up on a good trajectory for the postseason. Unfortunately, it hasn't started that way after dropping a walk-off situation 2 midweek games in a row, UAB and Georgia Tech. And then obviously thinking and feeling like we were going to be in a good situation in Alabama, and then it didn't happen. Not really what you hoped for. Now, I will say it was a good response by them in this Samford game. Very happy with the results there, with a run rule over a team that you should beat. Now, as we've come to know in midweek games, just because you are considered a lower tier team doesn't necessarily mean you are a lower tier team, especially in the game of baseball. Pretty much anybody can get anybody on any given day, especially in a midweek matchup where some of the upper echelon teams use players they don't typically use as much, or in certain situations, maybe even pitching wise, on the weekend. Obviously, that's not all 100% true there, but that's just kind of the prevailing thought there. Thomas, good to see you. Thanks for checking in from Leeds. Kevin, thank you so much for checking in as well. We're happy to see so many familiar faces here to talk about some Auburn baseball. So let me give you the stuff from this game, the things that you want to know, that you need to know from the game overall. Obviously, final score of 3-13. Auburn gets the win over the Samford Bulldogs in a very crucial midweek matchup. I would say the rest of the midweek matchups, which I think we have we got one next week. I think we take an off week the week after that, and then 2 more. So I think we've got 3 total left, if my thinking on that is correct. Tonight, though, your Auburn Tigers, 13 runs on 14 hits, left 7 on base. The Samford Bulldogs only get 3 runs on 9 hits, but they did have 3 errors and 7 left on base. So it wasn't without opportunities to get into the game against Auburn, but they definitely didn't take advantage of it the way the Tigers did. Isn't it nice to see some of your reliable guys, Case and Howell, having the walk-off hit to put the run rule into effect? I think it kind of crept up on us really quickly. For me personally, it did. That's like, oh, we're about to run rule this team if this situation happens. And it just kind of built and built and built in that particular final bottom of the eighth for Auburn to be able to take advantage of that. Leighton, good to see you. Thanks for checking in from North Georgia. People checking all over the Southeast and Alabama and Georgia right now specifically. But yeah, so that's the general breakdown right there. Auburn got started off in the first inning with 2 runs, 3 in the third, added 1 in the fourth, added another 1 in the seventh before doing the big damage of 6 runs in the eighth overall, or in the eighth inning overall, excuse me. Tonight, some of your statistics from batting. Cole Foster on the night, 3 for 4. Bobby Pierce, 3 for 5. Just listen to this, folks. Ike Irish, 3 for 5. Bryson Ware, 2 for 4. Cole McMurray finally got himself into the mix there with a home run late, 1-3. Justin Kirby got in on the did he get on the mix? No, he didn't. I'm sorry. Kason Howell, obviously, we've already talked about him, and Caden Green. But look at the top 4 and 5. I'll throw Cole in there too, even though it wasn't as efficient as the other 4 guys tonight. I want to know who else has a more potent first 4 or 5 guys, really 4 guys, than Auburn baseball in the SEC. Look, the SEC baseball is just filled with talent, tough teams this year, and they are every single year. But I would take our first 4 and the batting lineup, typical for batting lineup, over most others. And there's some, was his name Caglione out of Florida, who are outstanding batters. I think he's a pitcher too, isn't he? One of those two-way players. But I will take our first 4 guys any day of the week. The problem this season has not been the batting. It has been the pitching at times tonight. Zach Crotchfeld got the start tonight and had a short time of it. Only 1 inning pitch. Murphy came in and filled about 3.1 innings. Drew Nelson, Parker Carlson, John Armstrong finished it out to get the save, his second of the year. Murphy got his first win of the season. So that is your batting lineup. That was your pitching lineup tonight. Really nothing much to take away from that other than taking care of business and seeing, obviously, the pitching get it done tonight in the way that they could. Gary checking in. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you checking in. What things stuck out from you to you guys tonight? Obviously, we'll kind of hit some more things from this weekend and the weekend ahead too. But if there's anything from this game that stuck out to you that you'd like to mention, please put that in the chat as you're strolling through. Looking back at the results of last week and what it does now. I think some of the commentators tonight on TV pointed that out, that this is going to be a very interesting weekend of baseball because, for Auburn especially, what happened this past weekend with dropping the series to Alabama. I believe now both Mississippi State and Auburn have the same SEC schedule, not doing as bad as Ole Miss, which, isn't it weird that Ole Miss national champions are now struggling the way that they are? But this was their story last year, maybe not as bad, and they're now finding themselves in a similar scenario. Go figure, right? But right now, this weekend is one of the most important things for Auburn baseball. Series win is a must, I think. Not to say that the season is over if they don't win the series, but you're at home against an also trying to find its foundation team. Make sure you take advantage of this. Just like I said with the midweek games, taking care of those the rest of the way, winning the ones that you should, like this one, the series. You really, if we walk away with a series sweep, I will feel a lot better about our situations, but it's going to be tough to do that. Maybe we get to face the ambidextrous pitcher from Mississippi State. He throws within 2 miles per hour on both sides, 92 and 94. You know, it's impressive enough if they just do it in the 80s, if they're ambidextrous. But if that's the case, if he's doing in the low 90s on both sides, that's incredible. It just goes to show you and prove that the SEC is just chock full of talent, no matter where they go. Even the teams that are struggling. See, that's the thing about Auburn, too. Look, we have had a tough go of it in terms of pitching this year for a variety of reasons. But they don't want to face our batters. We just got done talking about the lineup tonight and how efficient they were. Cole Foster, again, 3 for 4. Bobby Pierce, 3 for 5. Ike Irish, 3 for 5. Bryson Ware, 2 for 4. And again, your home runs tonight were Cole Foster in the leadoff position and Cole McMurray in the 5th spot. Very potent. Even the guys that aren't part of that big core group of 4, Cole McMurray, Justin Kirby, Kason Howell, and others, they're pretty strong batters too. Stanfield, when he's in the lineup. You don't want to face Auburn's offense as a pitcher. That's definitely one of the strengths that we have. So looking ahead to this Mississippi State matchup, as I already said, very important one. Alumni weekend, I believe. They've got people coming to town. Not as big of a weekend as last year. I was able to attend that one. That was a fun weekend to be at, honoring the 1990. Which team was it? I've forgotten now. I actually have a banner. It's college right in front of you. 1997 College World Series team. 25 years, I guess it would have been last year. So that was really cool. I don't know if they have anything special that they're honoring this go around, but it's important whenever your alumni come home to make sure you do that. Do it well for them. Thomas says we need some sweeps to get back in this thing. That's the trouble, right? Now, if you talk about sweeps the rest of the way in midweek games, that feels a lot more likely. But Mississippi State, here's your remaining schedule for Auburn Tigers fans, since this is kind of our week catch-up. Mississippi State 3-game series, midweek game versus Troy, then a weekend series with USC. We got a midweek break, no games then a series at home versus LSU. Then we'll go visit Samford in Birmingham, at Ole Miss series, Jacksonville State, and then finishing out versus Missouri at home. Ole Miss, Missouri, Mississippi State, sure, if you can sweep all those, I think you feel a lot better about yourself. The problem is that South Carolina and LSU series that's sitting right there in the middle of all of that. So Auburn also doesn't need to get distracted looking ahead to those series. You've got talented SEC teams that you're going to face outside of those two, and talented midweek teams that you're going to face. So you need to make sure you're taking care of business where you can. But yes, some sweeps would definitely make us all feel a lot better about this thing. Layton says we're very dangerous if we could somehow not have 8+ walks a game against a good Samford team tonight. We only had 3. I will say, I think it was Tommy Vale who was being interviewed tonight on the TV broadcast, and he was quoted as saying, he said himself that he felt mentally that the pitching staff took a turn this year, that the results didn't really necessarily show what they all felt as a staff, them turning the corner. Now, it's one thing to turn the corner maybe mentally, in theory, but they have to actually start showing it out in the field. And tonight, I think they did a pretty decent job of that, as he pointed out, against this Samford team that's probably you don't want to take lightly. But the proof will be in the pudding this weekend. And I believe that they can do it. I believe that this pitching staff is a lot more talented than they've shown this year. And they've had some struggles, just to put it honestly. But I still do believe in them. Layton says the Ole Miss, Mississippi State have been uncharacteristically bad this year after they won the last 2 natties. We definitely need the series this weekend. It will do a lot to just get the series win, to kind of shift the mood of the fan base and the team in the right direction, because you're really going to need that heading into those next 2 series. It's going to be really, 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 really tough. But your great hitting, your batters who have been hot are staying hot. And it's not just one guy. Tonight it was home run wise, Cole McMurray and Cole Foster. Other nights it's, Bobby Barrows. The other nights it's Bryson Ware, Ike Irish. Justin Kirby gets in there with a home run every once in a while. Ike Irish is a double machine, gets another one tonight. So does Kason Howell, obviously, with that hit at the end there. That got the sweep. Here's the thing that I've learned about Kason Howell. You can always count on him to flash his leather out there in outfield. So is Bob. Bobby's been doing a really good job, had some really good glove work. The last 2 games before this one, I think he had 2 almost highlight reels. So that you can count on him, but you can also count on Kason. While he may not be showing the type of batting average that the top 4 are showing, he's pretty clutch at times, it feels like, offensively. So he's just a reliable, solid baseball player that you are so glad you have. All right. Final thoughts, comments, questions about this team, this game 13-3 win, the series loss to Alabama. Don't want to dwell on that too much, but if you have thoughts about that, and then looking ahead to Mississippi State, get those in right now. A couple reminders for you about what's coming up next. Do not miss tomorrow night, which is our Auburn family night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you actually stay to the very end of this video, there should take you right over to that watch page. There's already a preview page set up for it. Smash that like button there, hit the notify me bell so that you know when it goes live and can be part of the call-in show tomorrow night. Check out the links in the description, such as becoming a subscriber or a channel member here to help support us, keep the lights on here. You can also take the next step and be a Booster Club member and get yourself some perks for $1 a month, and other tiers are available. There's other links available for you in the chat or in the description if you'd like to take a look at some of those. You don't have to. All we'd love for you to do is just be here, smash the like button, and of course, tell somebody about E2C Network and help us build our little family within the Auburn family. Thomas, again, E2C for life. Love it, sir. Leighton says, theoretically, we should get better over the last part of the season since many of our pitchers are so young and inexperienced and haven't exactly hit that college stride yet. Yes, theoretically. I believe in this team. I believe in this head coach, in this staff. And I think that the season is far from over. However, like we talked about with the basketball team, they have to start taking advantage of some of these situations that are available to them because it becomes harder and harder and less room for error. This is one of those weekends where you really need to take advantage. I'm not saying a sweep. It'd be really nice, but a series win and a midweek win next week kind of starts to put that bad taste, wash it out of your mouth from the last couple of weeks of lots and lots of losses. But other than that, happy to celebrate a 13-3 run rule win over Samford. Looking forward to Mississippi State being back at home in Plainsman Park. And I hope you guys have enjoyed talking about Auburn baseball tonight. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, and spending some time being a part of our little family within the Auburn family. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.